Okay guys, this is some quick TA here, and I want to concentrate or focus on one particular aspect of it, which is inducement, and we'll just run through it really quickly. I've made a few TikTok videos on it just to explain, and basically inducement would be your pullbacks before a break of structure, right? So if we had a down structure like this, and we had a move like this, and then we broke structure here, this would be your major level of inducement, and this would be your minor level of inducement, right? Any pullback here and a move down, this would become your inducement level, which means that when price comes back, this would be our sell area to sell, right? To look for lower pricing in this case. So the pullback before a break of structure. Now you can see that we had a low here and high here, higher low, break of structure here. Price pulled back. Now generally what happens is it doesn't have to break this low because it created a smaller pullback within here. So you can see price came back, took the liquidity there, shot up. Same case here. This was the break of structure before the move up here. Price came back, took that, and we had nothing here, right? So price went up, broke structure, and didn't do much there. We had a minor inducement here, but then price changed character and moved on. So what I want to highlight here on the downtrend is we changed character here and we broke structure here, right? Now on this change of character here, we had a pullback here that broke the low here. So this here became your level of inducement, or that you'd mark off right there. So that's your inducement there. Right, that's your inducement level. Then we had a minor inducement level here where price pulled back and then broke structure. So this would be your minor level and your major level of inducement there. So any time price pulled back, so this could have been a sell here, and then you'd sell above here. So above this inducement level and this inducement level is where you would be looking for sells. So you can see the price pulled back here, took the liquidity here and here, right? So, and where it went into is the void here, which was filled, right? Fill the void there. The next sell opportunity is obviously going to become, I'll point it out to you now. From there, price broke down lower here, right? We broke down here, lower here. So now this becomes your major inducement level, and you would be looking for sells above there. Now we can see that most of this has now been mitigated in terms of there are no voids or anything in this area here. So the expectancy that price may not come back into this area here, because we've already had a pullback here that filled the void here, and this area here was all mitigated and balanced out, right? Efficient price action. So let's take this away, which means we would now be looking for the next void, which would be in here, right? From here to here, there. That's the next area we need to sell. Now when price broke the structure here, again from this inducement level down to here, there were no major sort of pullbacks except here. I'm going to point it out to you now. Let's get rid of this and this. So we had some pullbacks here, tiny one here, we had one here that broke down here, broke here and broke here, right? This was the break of structure. This was a minor inducement level here. Let's highlight it out and pull it across. So we can see that this level here was an inducement level, right? The fact that BTC went back and took that level means we can look for sells, right? We didn't take it on this move up here. We didn't take it. We broke structure here. So there was the only real inducement. There was no inducement level to sell off if price came back anywhere in here. So when price came above here, it took the liquidity, so that became a sell there. Now, if we go down to a slightly lower time frame, I'll point something else out to you. Right, so we had a move up, we had the correction, and then a move up here which broke structure here. So this became the inducement level here. Price came back, took that liquidity and moved away. Now when we have, note this one now, right? We had this move up, price came back here, then broke up here, broke here and broke structure here. This now becomes the level of inducement at this point here, which means if we expect higher prices on BTC, we need to take some liquidity at this level or just below it, sweep the inducement. That would be your area that you need to be looking to buy. This is one of the reasons why when price was up here, I noted that we need to look for buys down here, and I think let's just go down to a 2 hour and see if we can get a good demand zone. There is one here that we could have used. So this would be your point of interest or your demand zone. So anything back into this zone here would be a good buy opportunity. That's the way we had it. Now we are looking for BTC to come back into this green level here, take the inducement here, and get higher pricing. So two options would be that we come down here and we get stuck here, because now this became your inducement level here and you have an inducement level here, all the minor inducements. We get stuck here, reject here, and we head lower. The alternate is that once we get down here, we catapult ourselves back up to fill the void that we mentioned earlier, which is in here. We fill this void. So what that would do is it would give us some price efficiency when we fill that void. But what it also does for us, it gives us liquidity that has been taken in terms of inducement, because remember there was nothing, there were no pullbacks here. There were no pullbacks here for us to say, oh, when we get back to this level, we're going to sell. There's nothing there. So what this is now all doing here is creating the liquidity that we need, that needs to be taken for us to even consider selling in this area. So all of this is liquidity engineering here. And once it gets taken, we can look for the sell opportunity here until we get back above here. Now remember, I said everything above here is already mitigated and efficient, so there's no reason for us to get back up there. We could even just sweep this here and then head lower, right? So that would have taken enough liquidity all through this, and the inducement liquidity just above here would give us a sell opportunity there. Right. Basically, that's what we're looking for on BTC in terms of the liquidity side of it. And I'm just going to switch to an 8 hour and add this little indicator here called the market structure break, which is going to point it out to you because it marks off the highs and lows in terms of structure, right? So I mentioned before, we broke there, we had a pullback here, we broke down, that broke here, a pullback, and we broke structure here, price catapulted up here, took the liquidity here and here, and then we broke down further there, right? But like I mentioned, if you can see by this long line down, there were no pullbacks anywhere in between to tell us that we have a next level of inducement for us to solve. So we have a void in here, and we have what BTC is doing now is liquidity engineering, right? We had a move up here, and what this is starting to look like is in terms of Elliott wave is an A wave. We have an A here, A, B, C here, and then we are going to look for a C here to complete this B wave. And then we are going to have a move equal, at least equal to this up there, right? So let's get that neater. We're going to have a move with equal sort of magnitude from here to here, push us up there at least. So once BTC taps into the zone here, which we're hoping it does, we're going to get a move back up into here. So that would have taken enough liquidity all around for us to now get another leg down until we can start to hold these levels here and start to make bullish structure. I'm not too bullish on BTC, to be honest with you, because this leg here has all been efficient. We've taken inducement all here on this leg down, and we have taken all the liquidity on this leg up here, which leaves us only this point here, which needs to be taken. So I've seen the charts online on Twitter where there are people, this is too low a time frame, let's try and go to a 2 hour, pull this out, where there are people that are longing a zone here, right? So instead of the one I have, they are longing here. So you can see the reaction there, but in all honesty, there hasn't been a market structure break to the upside to even consider longing here until maybe BTC does something like this, then breaks up here above this level. We'd look for longing the pullback in any demand zone here to take it up there. Right now, longing here is a bit of a chance because this was the pullback, this was the lower low, and this just moved in here, and I'm going to go to a lower time frame and show you what it did. So until we break a major structure here, or if we create a lower low here and we break here like that, then we'd look for a pullback into a zone here to take it up there. So right now, longing this, not a good idea in my opinion. If we go to the lower time frames, I'm going to show you the same example again of the inducement being taken. Right, so this would be our order block here, right? It's a candle that took liquidity. It's the longest candle. I'm not too concerned about the color. This would be our bearish order block here. So that's the sell zone. Now we had a move up here, and then we had this 3-wave move here, right, to the downside. What that created, we made a lower low here, which means this became our inducement level here. Price did this, made a 3-leg move here, came back and took the inducement liquidity. Can you see that? So it's taken it there. It doesn't necessarily have to come back into here. It can continue to the downside straight from there. So just bear that in mind, right? Price can very well just make new lows from here. Now what was interesting on this leg up, we had a move here, and we had this move down, and a 3 leg to the upside. So this here became an inducement level because this leg broke the high here, or broke the structure there. Price came back into it. Can you see here? It took the inducement level and the liquidity into a point of interest, which was here. So if this zone starts to hold, and it may, as something like that, then we could see BTC push higher into this zone here and ultimately take the liquidity that's resting here as the major liquidity, because we had a pullback here that led to a lower low here. So all of this will come back and take this here and then head down lower, right? So that's what we're looking for on BTC on the lower time frames, to pull back, and hopefully we can short back up in this zone here. Like I said, there's been no break of structure, because what you want to see is price coming into a level here and then a break of structure there, either here or here, and then once we get that, we can look for a pullback and a demand zone here to take a move back up. And you're not seeing that here, right? You're seeing lower low, lower high, lower low, and technically lower high, so it can do that. But what I'll be looking for here is, well, let's call this a major level of inducement here. That means there's money lying here, right? So we would be looking for BTC now after taking the inducement here. Look, it's pushing down here. It can even come back, take this liquidity in this zone here, and then head higher, either or. Let's just make this a buy zone. Right, it can still pop back lower here, take the liquidity resting here in this demand zone here. Then we can see maybe there's some structure here, it breaks up here, above here, and then any pullback into this zone here would be for longing to at least here. Once we get here, we're going to look for any signs, reversal signs here, like that, and we'll take the next setup to head lower to the higher time frame inducement level, which I mentioned earlier, which is down here, right? So this was the move up. This was the low before the break of structure here. So price is coming back naturally to take the liquidity. Then we'll consider longing here on a reversal, low time frame reversal setup, to take it to at least here. If we fail here, we're going to see lower pricing here as some sort of head and shoulders pattern. If not, we are going to see BTC make this move here and head back into the void, and then we'll look for reversal signs there, right? That's the idea for BTC. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't think I have anything else to tell you other than this has just been one whole video on inducement and what we're looking for. So generally we would be looking for inducement, which is the liquidity engineering, in order to take a trade. If there's no inducement, there's no trade. So when you see legs with no inducement, the asset, doesn't have to necessarily be BTC, has to create some sort of structure that takes liquidity in order to continue the trend. So we saw it here. Here, made a 3-wave down here. Price pulled back here. Let's just go lower in here, zoom in here so we see that a bit better. Right, we'll do that again. If you're having trouble with that, you can just load the market structure break model, and you can set it on a 10 minute, maybe 10 minutes should help. Let's go back and have a look at that. Right, so what do we have here now? We had price change character here, because remember, from at this point here, price was trending upward, right? So it changed character as it started to trend downward here, especially when it broke structure here. So when it broke structure here, let's just draw a line here. It created inducement levels here, here, and here. This being the first inducement level, which means when BTC did this and came here, this was a sell. When it came here, we sell above the inducement. You can see here we had a reaction here, and then it pushed one more higher, took this inducement into this point of interest here, like that, this candle here, and then we sold off, right? So it took the inducement and then it sold off. Let's go a bit to the right, have a look at what happened here. Right, pretty on this particular time frame we had pretty efficient price action, but if I switch this off just slightly here and we zoom in a bit, we had a move down here. Can you see that price trending here? And what these were all doing was creating inducement, right? BTC then changed character, came back, took these levels here and here into this order block here, broke down lower, pulled back here, headed lower. Now, like I said, there was no real inducement created until here, but it made a three-wave move up here, so it took some liquidity here and then it headed lower here. We had a break of structure here again, another break of structure, which made this the inducement level here. What did it do here? It came back, it took the inducement liquidity, and it headed down lower. So that brings us to where we are now, and what we're looking for here is inducement liquidity. And we know that we had inducement liquidity here, which was taken here, but we also have one up here, and we had one here and one here. So we've taken this one here. Chances are we probably take this one here. So low time frame, you could look for a buy setup that takes you back to at least here, and then we'll look for sell setups, like I said, to head down lower there. That's it. Start to take note of these levels. If you have trouble marking them off, then use the market structure break tool, and that should mark it off for you. You can lower the time frames down to a 5 minute, and then you'd start to see the pullback levels where that inducement and liquidity is being created. For example, here, so here, this was the inducement level here, here, and here. That led to the break of structure here. Price pullback, took it into this void here and broke down again, right? Once it broke here, this was the pullback here that led to another break of structure here. This was the pullback here that led to the break of structure here. So it created inducement here, here, and here, and it was all taken after that. Simple enough. Go back and back test all of these, and if you know the direction of the trend, then you know where to sell. So if the direction of the trend is down, then look for the inducement levels at points of interest, demand blocks, fib levels, fair value gaps, voids. So those are points of interest where you can then sell. We'll upload this on YouTube now, and I'll catch you guys later.